Peace, peace. Come on in, come on in. Peace. Come on in. Like the live, share the live. Got some nice reading material for everybody today. Like the live, share the live. Let's get it in. Let's get it started. E-Flow, what's happening? Hidden gems in the building. Peace, peace. That's all the original people of America. Facts. I appreciate you for saying that. Like the live, share the live. We blowing dust off of old books today. Blowing the dust off of old books. I'm talking about 3, 4, 5 years ago. A lot of y'all probably wasn't here with me during those times. What's happening, Rich Soul? But we gonna cover it though. Make sure y'all get y'all screenshots ready. And for those inside the Telegram, I already dropped the books inside there. Thank you for the gifts. Appreciate it, appreciate it. Come on in. What's happening, Zoe Hustles? We're going to get started here in a second. We're going to let some more people get in here. Roll it if you got it. Take this time to roll it. Take this time to fix your coffee, your tea, or your drink of choice. All right? Everybody been good? Y'all week starting off straight? Mother Own Goddess in the building. Peace, peace. Smoke out of my eye. Peace, y'all. I'm already pretty fried, but I got room for more. Facts. Shit, I ain't even get started for the day, bit dog. I ain't even get started today. I've been wrestling with this car all day. What's happening, Sunbeam in the building? JB in the building. Peace, peace. Appreciate that. You like the background? Appreciate it. Y'all like the live. We about to recap 3 books tonight. Alright? I'm telling y'all, get your paper plane, get your drink of choice, get your popcorn, get your screenshots. You know, in this yearly recap that I normally do at the end of the year, going into the new year, so-called new year, right? Gregorian calendar. We do a big recap. So tonight we're gonna go through 3 books that I presented 4 and 5 years ago to everybody. You know what I'm saying? So that boy Gotti be on everybody's live saying the same shit. TikTokians. That boy be on everybody live trolling. It's crazy seeing people that look like us who still haven't come to grips that the world was Negroes. You know, it's crazy seeing people that look like us who don't know that they are the original inhabitants of Earth. And recessive hybrid people can't be original. So, you know, it's crazy that most of the hate that I get come from people that look like me. I ain't never had a YT people come to my panel and troll me. It's always people that look like me, and it's always natives. That's crazy. But anyways, though, hopefully he stay, get some screenshots, and learn something, because obviously he don't read. What's happening, Soul Bird? He stuck on y'all, you know. Facts, man. That man be in everybody live saying the same shit. Why the natives ain't sue us for claiming to be them, and why the Africans ain't sue us? Because that shit, they can't sue us, Amaru. You already know. They can't sue us. Out of all the pretendians, we're not on that list. You know what I'm saying? When people talk about pretendians, we ain't on that list. 99% of your pretendians are YT people. So-called Negroes ain't never been sued or none of that, or never been took into jail or none of that. Every time we claim or find our indigeneity, we always get our land back. You know, we always get, you know what I'm saying, accepted into our tribes. You know, just a whole lot of things, right? So, you know, it is what it is. What's happening, Fox? They the Chiefs now? Yeah. So, real quick. When you talk about pretendians, make sure you talk about the real pretendians, right? When you talk about pretendians, make sure y'all talk about the real pretendians, because these folks getting busted for fraud, they going to jail. And you know something? On this list of pretendians who's getting busted for fraud and shit, ain't none of us on this list. Ain't none of us on this list. No American Negro is on this list. It's all YT people. And people that call us Wabos. As you can see, all of these people at the bottom has been busted for fraud. Professors and shit like that, all right? Been busted for fraud. Alright. Right? Lay off the fraud. That boy said, you are African with European blood. You know something I find amazing is how people that are paler than us with recessive hair think that we got more YT blood in us than them. My bad, I ain't mean to send that invitation. Y'all notice that? It's crazy that the palest people with the straightest hair on here be saying that we got more YT blood in us than them. That's crazy. Right? That's crazy, right? them boys think that we got more YT in us than them, and they clearly got an abundant amount of YT in them. Clearly. If we had more YT blood in us, we would be looking like Blake Griffin. It'd be a bunch of Drakes running around. Real talk. If we had this high percentage of YT blood in us, like they be trying to say, even 25%, we all, 50 million of us, would be looking like Blake Griffin, Drake, and Steph Curry. Oh man, that shit crazy, man. Shout out to everybody that's in here though. They said they stopped going out. Remember, facts. All you could do is laugh. Yeah. What's happening, Prince Dread? Big Rico, what's happening? He said that shit baffles me. Facts. These folk crazy, man. That boy said we came over here with Mansa Musa. Shout out to everybody that's in here. That boy said take a DNA test, then improve the DNA all indigenous people have and compare. We don't believe in DNA tests. We rather do ancestry and census records and build your family tree because that's how everything goes. Everything goes off of ancestry, not DNA tests. I thought y'all knew. Like if I wanted to go get a tribal ID card, they gonna ask for my ancestry, not DNA. But you know, y'all don't know that yet. We got us a guest. I'm gonna accept this guest and then we gonna get started, y'all. Thank y'all for the gifts too. I'm gonna accept this guest and then we gonna get started. Don't nobody wanna be y'all. Don't nobody
Amen.
wanna live in teepees and eat fried bread and shit. Y'all trust me. Y'all niggas is good. Nobody wanna eat fried
What?
bread.
I fucking
What's
love
happening? Way
fry
too
bread.
faded.
Bro, why are you shit talking fry bread? I thought you're Indian. You fucking can't eat fry bread.
Yo, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. What nation are you from?
Okay. Guess he just
Uh,
came up to troll. And trust me, ain't nobody trying to wear no, ain't nobody trying to live in no TPs and eat fried bread and have reservations with YT people and y'all screaming at each other. Dum, 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 dum. Ah! Ain't nobody trying to do that shit. Trust me, y'all shit is safe. Only people that's trying to be like y'all is YT people. The rejects. Because most YT people are trying to be like us. So y'all got the rejects that's trying to be like y'all. Oh man. That boy said he don't know who his daddy is and he claim us. Here we go. Typical YT stereotypes. I actually know my father. My father was a Vietnam War vet. He fought for your freedom. But who your daddy? What great things did your daddy do? I bet your daddy never did nothing. He probably sat on a reservation and got high his whole life. Real talk, your daddy probably sat on a reservation and got high his whole life. What great things did your father do? My father also helped build all the children's hospitals, even the one that your kids probably go to. So, yeah, I definitely know my father. Rest in peace. You know what I'm saying? Rest in peace. I do know my father, bro. Oh, man. Shout out to everybody that's in here, man. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. All right, y'all ready? Thank y'all for the gifts. Thank y'all for the gifts. You said ain't nobody trying to unalive each other of colors. Actually, y'all are. Actually, people do unalive each other for colors. That's what WAR is about, right? American flag versus the Chinese flag. You know what I'm saying? And again, y'all don't know too much about our culture because we all don't gangbang and we all don't unalive each other over colors. Like, what's this, 1970s? Y'all, like, nobody does that old shit. Y'all niggas is outdated. they outdated on our culture. Don't nobody do that shit. Hey, shout out to everybody that's in here. What's happening, Courtney? Oh, you said, and we all don't live in teepees and eat fried bread. Hey, if y'all gonna do some generalization on me, I'm gonna do generalization on y'all. All right. Shout out to everybody that's in here, man. Y'all like the live, share the live, man. Y'all know what it is. We about to go ahead and get started. Right. Y'all see how mad y'all see how mad folks is. I got YT people on my background and so-called natives are mad. You feel me? I got YT people on my background pretending to be Indians, and these so-called natives is mad in my comments. Like, why y'all mad? Why y'all get mad every time I show YT people pretending to be Indians? Why don't y'all never say nothing about them pretending to be Indians? They really think we don't have fathers in our homes, though. Yeah, man. Hey, that is one of the. Hey, this is how I know that they're brainwashed by YT people, right? They always talk about how we talk about YT people. You guys love the YT people. People who are racist to us literally regurgitate YT Jim Crow stereotypes and misinformation by the media because most of us actually know our fathers. Like, real shit, most of us actually know our fathers, bro. I don't know where y'all been at. Oh man. I said NK real. You said what native culture the world follows? Wearing them Siberian head bonnets. You don't care for them fake ass whites on your pictures. You should. You know what? You should actually care about these fake ass YT people pretending to be natives because these people are in Congress. These people is the reason why pipelines are being built. These people are the reason why kids go missing from the reservations. These people is the reason why native culture can't really progress for real. Like, y'all should give a fuck about these YT people. That's y'all problem. Y'all should give a fuck. Oh shit. All right. So y'all ready for the books? Y'all ready for the sources? Y'all got y'all pre-rolls ready. Y'all got y'all drinks poured. Y'all got y'all screenshot buttons ready. Y'all ready for these books? Y'all let me know if y'all ready for these books in the comments, man. We about to go ahead and get into it. Him said, let's get it. You said watch the live drop to 20. I don't care about numbers, bruh. I never cared about numbers. Those with ears will hear, those with eyes will see. But I see that you still in here though. He said watch the live drop to 20, but I bet you he stay in here though. Oh, you said nah, cause I'm breaking out books. Oh, okay. I don't know whose side you on, bit dog. I'm feeling myself tonight, so y'all forgive me. All right, let's get into these books. Roll it if you got it. Y'all see Mother Nurture. Mother Nurture told y'all to roll it if you got it, right? We're gonna start with this book right here, though. Right? We're gonna start with this book. What's that in BGP in the building? All right, we're gonna start with this book right here. A lot of y'all probably seen this book. A lot of y'all probably haven't. If y'all seen this book and read this book, y'all let me know in the comments. And if y'all haven't, y'all let me know in the comments as well, so I know how far to go inside this book. You said you never seen that book before? Okay, I got you. Light Flower, I got you. Who else ain't never seen this book before? Never did, but I ain't your audience though. Yeah, but you here right now. All right. You heard of it, Rich Soul, never seen it. E-Flow, never seen it. Maroon Goddess, Mother Nurture, you ever seen this book? Mother Nurture said never. Okay. So, 103 amazing facts about the Black Indians of the Western Hemisphere outline by Canyon, a non-reservationist, right? Just like Jack D. Forbes, we got another Native American telling the truth. But this one don't live on the reservations. Okay, I'm gonna say that again. Just like Jack D. Forbes, we got another Native American telling the truth. This one don't live on the reservations though, right? He said, how you not the audience, but you in the audience. That shit crazy, right, Fox? Okay, y'all get y'all screenshots. For those inside the Telegram, I already dropped it inside the Telegram if you want to download it. Said they in here stealing. Hey, let them. Let them. One thing they can't steal is those Negroid statues that look like us. So let's get into it, right? 103 amazing facts about the American Indian, right? Or the Black Indian, as they call us, right? So, beginning. I got you. So, beginning, right? Beginning, right? It says, I don't want to start right there. Let's go ahead and start with the list, right? So, let's go ahead and get into it. So, number one, Black Indians have lived in the Western Hemisphere since time immemorial, right? That's one fact. Fact number two, so-called Black Indians were not spawned or created as a result of Africans coming to the Western Hemisphere during the transatlantic slave trade, mixing with the native people of the Western Hemisphere region, also known as Native American Indians, all right? That's fact number two. We are not a mix of that, okay? Number three, Native or indigenous people of the Western Hemisphere, also known as Indians, did not refer to themselves or their ancestors as Indian. We use the word Indian since most people are accustomed to this title. The word Indian, Red Man, and Native American are European colonized terms. Native or indigenous people of the Western Hemisphere referred to themselves by way of tones, vibrations of expression. Your spirit said who and what you were. The name given to you was based upon what type of spirit you possess. And we still nickname ourselves today. That's pretty much what he's saying. We named ourselves based off of attributes, tones, vibrations, characteristics, and we still do that today. Everybody got a nickname that is based off of the tones, vibrations, and characteristics of you, right? Everybody got a red inside their communities, right? And guess what? Red is actually red, right? Everybody got a dude named Black inside the community, and guess what? Black is dark as hell, like Wesley Snipes, right? We all got a man, a Ray, a Porky, a Pig, all type of names that we were given, and these are names that we hold dear. Honestly, we care more about our nicknames than our government names, honestly, right? We still do our indigenous shit, right? We still do our indigenous shit, right? What's that in Dark Mother, right? Right, Junebug, yeah, rest in peace to my big brother Junebug, yeah, Junebug as well too, yeah, right? So fact number 4, all native or indigenous people of the Western Hemisphere, aka Indians, possess different physiological features, meaning we did not all look the same. We all have different hair textures, bone structures, and skin tones, right? Are varied. We already know that, right? No Indian look the same. Okay. Fact number 5, all native or indigenous people of the Western Hemisphere, aka Indians, did not and do not have high cheekbones, slanted eyes, or reddish copper skin, or straight black hair. All right. Not all of us have the high cheekbones, but that don't mean that you ain't indigenous. We all don't have the almond eyes or slanted eyes, but that doesn't mean that you aren't indigenous either, right? And so on and so forth. All native or indigenous people of the Western Hemisphere did not live in teepees or pablos. A lot of us had apartment buildings. Okay. It is difficult for society to accept the Black Indian as being native or indigenous to the Western Hemisphere region because society has been brainwashed with fabricated fake images of indigenous people in the Western Hemisphere, aka Indians. It is difficult for society to accept the Black Indians as being native or indigenous to the Western Hemisphere region because society has been brainwashed with fabricated fake images of indigenous people in the Western Hemisphere, right? Crying eyes Cody. Yeah, you ain't know? Yeah. Apartment buildings was invented by American Indians. There's a book called American Indian Contributions to the World, which actually talks about all the contributions that American Indians spread it to the world. And apartment buildings is one of them. Yep. Apartment buildings is one of them. If I had time, I'll go get that book and show you, but you know, we got 3 books to get through tonight. So most reservation Indians were carefully selected by the United States government to occupy reservations when reservations were being established. The U.S. government, for the most part, selected pale-skinned Indians or Hollywood version Indians to occupy U.S. governmental established reservations. We already know that, right? All right, we already know that, right? Let's keep getting into these facts. All right. The U.S. government selected a certain physiological type of native or aka Indian to promote to the world as this is a real Indian, as well as this is how real Indians look. We already know that, right? The dark-skinned indigenous to the Western Hemisphere, aka Indians, were reclassified during the 17, 18, and 1900s as Negroes and coloreds. Certain dark-skinned natives were allowed to settle on reservations with pale-skinned natives. Most were not. Right, we were moving to the urban areas, right, because of the Urban Relocation Act, right? Pale-skinned natives came about as a result of original dark-skinned indigenous people breeding with pale-skinned Europeans. A light-skinned native born from this union would again breed with a pale-skinned European. Thus, the progeny of this union would become more pale and genetically recessive. After centuries of this breeding process eventually produced a pale-skinned native of a Western Hemisphere. The dark-skinned natives did not mix their seed. Hold on. Okay. The dark-skinned natives who did not mix their seed still endure. The U.S. government has reclassified most as Black Americans or African Americans. Okay. I was saying that, Swarthy. I ain't see you come in. Peace, peace. You know, hey, we blowing the dust off our old books tonight. Blowing dust off our old books tonight. Certain dark-skinned indigenous people to the Western Hemisphere, aka Indians, were given an ultimatum: go to Oklahoma and be an Indian on a reservation, or stay where you're at and become reclassified as Negro and colored. All right. You said, what you mean? I got cousins dark skinned and light skinned. Yes, most of us do. Light skinned natives or pale skinned natives are our cousins. So yes, most of us are related to the so-called pale skinned natives. Most pale skinned natives got darker grandmothers and grandfathers. All right. I appreciate you for stating that fact that we all know. So now, most dark-skinned natives indigenous to the Western Hemisphere, aka Indians, who were reclassified as Negro or colored during the 17 and 1800s, have found themselves in the 20 and 21st century again reclassified as Black Americans and African Americans. Okay. Dark-skinned native indigenous to the Western Hemisphere, aka Indians, who embraced the Spanish culture during the colonial era, either by choice or by force, have found themselves engulfed or assimilated into Spanish culture in the Spanish language. Now, most of them have lost the knowledge of themselves and their true identity. They too have been reclassified as Latinos and Hispanics, your cousins. All native people or indigenous people of the Western Hemisphere, aka Indians, spoke different dialects of language synonymous to the Hebrew language. Hmm. 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 All right. My boy said, do I get an N-word pass? The only way you can get an N-word pass if you can go into a crowd of N-words and say it and they don't whoop your ass. If you can go into a crowd of N-words and say it and they don't whoop your ass, then you got the pass. But if you go in a crowd of N-words and say it and they whoop your ass, you ain't got the pass. It don't matter if you cousins or not. Cousins ain't brothers. Cousins don't mean we brothers, nigga. You still got a fucking limitation to shit. So now, most early European writers during the 1400s throughout the 1800s include pale-skinned youths, right? Little hat people, all agree that the quote heathen savage of the Western Hemisphere, aka the Indians throughout the Americas, were without a doubt descendants of the lost tribes of Israel. A pale-skinned European by the name of John Adair dodged the hijack because we know that John Adair is not a pale-skinned European. John Adair is an El Negro, right? Because we know that John Adair is a Latino, Sephardic Jew. He was an El Negro, okay? All right, ain't nothing wrong with correcting the old shit because now we know better, right? But anyways, he was a Sephardic Jew writer and trader during the 1800s, right? Or during the 18th century, lived amongst Black Indians in the Southeast. John Adair wrote a book entitled Histories of the American Indian. In this book, he claimed that the Indians of the Western Hemisphere were descendants of the lost tribes of Israel, okay? All right. I say I didn't sin. I want to see a video of him saying that I'm dead. So we're under a union between the Moors and the European Albions. Nah, we're not under a union between the Moors and the European Albions. We are under Albion control or albino supremacy. Okay. Nat Turner, Paul Coffey, Crispus Attucks, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Harriet Tubman, Denmark Vesey, Elijah Poe, aka the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, amongst million others, were indigenous to the Western Hemisphere, aka Indians. The titles Black American and African American are fake, inappropriate European colonized titles to keep indigenous people of the Western Hemisphere, aka Indians, under a spell of ignorance. The titles Black American and African American were purposely created to psychologically and spiritually disconnect indigenous people from the Western Hemispheres, aka Indians, from their true motherland, which is right up under their feet. This is why niggas ain't never left nowhere. No matter how fed up you with, listen, no matter how fed up you are with America, most of us will never leave because this is your home. Spiritually, you still tied to it. Okay. All right. The Reverend Jesse Jackson of South Carolina Cherokee started and promoted the title, the fake title African American, that has been imposed upon Black Indians indigenous to the Western Hemisphere. It has become quite profitable to brainwash the indigenous people of the Western Hemisphere into thinking that Africa is their native land. It is profitable. This is why people are getting mad, because we hurting that bag. Listen, this is the reason why people are getting mad at us, because we're hurting that bag. We're hurting that bag. You know what I'm saying? Pan-Africanism is profitable, and motherfuckers became millionaires off of that shit. Pan-Africanism has been paying niggas bills. So niggas is getting mad because they water about to get cut off. All right. There is a campaign currently under the way by the U.S. government and the U.S. government sponsored natives to preach a doctrine that says that the Black Indians of the Western Hemisphere is a result of African mixture and has not always dwelled in the Western Hemisphere. Okay. Y'all good? Y'all straight? What's happening, CVC? Y'all good? Y'all straight? Y'all enjoying it so far? Mm-hmm. All right. They said, yeah, we good. Cool, cool. Roll it if you got it. Oh, shit. Very indigenously. Very indigenously. Somebody said the live was going to drop down to 20. Somebody said the live was going to drop down to 20. Shout out to him if he's still in here, right? Very indigenously. Let's continue going. Most so-called Black Americans or so-called African Americans, when asked if any Native Americans or indigenous people are in their family, at least 95% will answer yes. In addition to this, most so-called Black Americans or so-called African Americans are also able to give you the name of the tribe of their relative come from. Thus, the so-called Black American or African American oddly insist upon calling themselves Black Americans or African Americans instead of referring to themselves by way of the ancestral tribal name that has survived in their family, which in essence is their true nationality. Right? What's your nationality? My nationality is Shada. What's your nationality? We are part of the Mississippian Empire that's inside of the Amaruka. Oh, my bad. I wasn't supposed to tell y'all about Amaruka. But since we said the name Amaruka, let's put a pin in this for a second, right? Let's put a pin in this. I promise y'all that we're going to come back to this. But first, let's blow the dust off one of my old books I presented 5 years ago. Let's blow the dust off of it, right? Let's blow the dust off of it. Go and get your screenshot. How many of y'all ever seen this book? I'm going to ask y'all this question every time we flip a book, so just be ready to answer. How many of y'all ever seen this book? How many of y'all was in the live when I presented this book? This is an old book, so many of y'all probably was never around when I presented this, except for Swarthy. Swarthy has been around. Shout out to Swarthy. All right. Collect 73. What's happening? Yep, Benjamin. Shout out to Benjamin. How can I forget, big dog? Hey, yeah, you been here since day one too. Yeah, I already know what it is, man. So, let me know when y'all screenshot this book. And I urge y'all to screenshot this book and get it from archives.org. All right, so let me know when y'all screenshot this. This book is for everybody who think Amerigo Vespucci named America, Okay? This book will debunk the whole America was named by America Vespucci. This book debunks that. And this book was published in 1888. Okay? This book was published in 1888. Y'all know that 1800 books is pretty much credible, right? So, let's go to the map, because the map is interesting. I want y'all to look at this map and let me know everything y'all see that stands out to you. Look at the map. Y'all let me know things that stand out to you in this map. You see Florida. Right. No Africa. Okay, Amadu, I see you. Yeah, no Africa. Catamorica. See you, Rich Soul. Hidden Gem said Asia. What about Asia, Hidden Gems? Haiti and DR1, right? What about Asia, Mother Nurture? What is it about Asia that stands out to y'all? It's where Europe is at, right? That's because at this time frame, there is no Europe. In this time period, there is no Europe. Queen Europa wasn't born yet. I'm going to say that one more time. Queen Europa wasn't born yet, so there is no Europe. But there's always been an Asia. And Cathay, right? You see that word? Cathay, Cathay or Cathay? That means China. All right? And that also was the name of Mexico over here. I'm gonna say that one more time. Cathay or Cathay, right there. That's another name for China. And that name was also the name of Mexico. Before there was a Mexico here. Okay? All right. So yeah. So you got Asia right here, which is now what we call Europe. Okay? And you got Amaru, Camaracan Islands. Camaracan Islands, right? Amérique. Okay? We are talking about, what are we talking about? We talking about the origins of the name of America, right? So let's get into it, right? Let's get into it. The origins of America, right? So the object of this abridged popular edition is to present in a brief, clear, and simple style our discovery of the origins of the name America, which came as unexpectedly as that of Columbus, while we're collecting from the old works of the Spanish historians the customs and history of the Americans called Indians by mistake in order to show their connection with Egypt. We in 1888. They say what? The histories of the Americans, or called Indians by mistake, in order to show their connection with Egypt, of which a preliminary sketch was published in 1882. We have attached a map to be kept in view while reading, so that a perfect idea may be obtained of the place named by so-called Columbus and of the geography of the age when America was discovered. Asia is placed in the position given to it by the first. Damn, boy. Somebody muffler is horrible. All right. Asia is placed in the position given to it by the first standard map of the world on which the Western Hemisphere appeared, and the Atlantic coast representing the early discoveries and settlements on the continent. Is taken from the first atlas, right? It's taken from the first atlas where the name of America is applied to its southern division, to which we added the information obtained from a local chart showing the coast of Amaruca in the kingdom of Cundinamarca, which is South America by Bogota. Okay? Cundinamarca is by Bogota in South America. Okay? That's the introduction. All right? That's the introduction. The cities on the Pacific coast, right? Pacific, right? Our brothers and sisters out there, right? The cities on the Pacific coast represented the extent of the kingdom of Amaruca. Represented the extent. The Pacific coast represented the extent of the kingdom of Amaruca at the period of its conquest by Spain. Instead of referring to the numerous Spanish authors which we have consulted in order to show the importance of this empire, which only bears indirectly on our subject, we have referred our readers to a most interesting work where these scattered histories may be found collected. We speak of the well-known Prescott's History of the Conquest of Peru, a great nation, of which our notes only give a passing outline. We use the word king in its general sense instead of the native name of Inca. We use the word king in its general sense instead of the native name of Inca, which has a similar meaning, preferring to exclude foreign words which tend to mystify history when an idea can be conveyed in our own. The kings of Amaruca, or America, like the kings of England, Japan, Mikado, Turkey, the Sultan, in Persia, the Shah, right, were the temporal and spiritual chiefs of their dominions. Nearly all the works we have examined are to be found at the Astor Library, which, with a valuable number of the American Geographical Society maps and atlases, has been the principal means of throwing light on this subject of national interest. Okay? All right. Here goes some sources. Since people, you guys don't got no sources, but we got a lot of sources. For people that say we ain't got no sources, y'all can screenshot these sources. You know what I'm saying? You got American Encyclopedia and some old shit. All right. You guys don't ever show sources. Here go your screenshot right here. All right. Okay. All right. So now we're going to drop down to the bottom, right? Because, you know, we got a couple of books and some pages to get through. So we ain't going to get too hung up on everything. So the bottom paragraph, the Spanish colonists adopted the native name of America. Listen, the Spanish colonists adopted the name. The Spanish colonists, who are who? Moors. When you talk about Spaniard colonists, you're talking about Moors. So Moors adopted the native name of America to designate their first settlement on the mainland of the New World. But in those days, the rules of ethnography were undefined. And in addition to the numerous errors of printing, names were spelled in any way which the writer considered most appropriate. And hence we have America, because America was written and spelled wrong. Not only written Amaruca or Amaruca or Marico or America, or just simple America, as most of us Southerners will pronounce, right? Where you from? From America. You see how you still got your dialect today? And these are, this is indigenous dialect. This is what we're reading. These are native names for what we call America. So somewhere around the world, you got dark-skinned indigenous people calling themselves Americans. Where you from, America? What are you, American? All right. As y'all can see at the bottom, different ways you can spell it. Amaraca, Amerioco, and Amerioca. Maraca, Maraca. Morica, Moraca, and simply America. So what the fuck is this Turtle Island shit people be talking about? Nah, for real, what the fuck is this Turtle Island shit that people be talking? I'm from the Turtle Island. Turtle Island. Turtle Island. Y'all better give Native Americans they shit back. We ain't from no Turtle Island, nigga. We from the land of serpents. We are Marucans. We from the land of serpents. We ain't from no Turtle Island. You know what I'm saying? You know, shout out to Dane Calloway. You know, no shade to him and anybody else that used that Turtle Island shit. But we're not from Turtle Island. We're from the land of serpents. We're Amarucans. Okay? This is why natives be talking about you guys are stealing our culture, because some of y'all are stealing their culture and y'all don't even know y'all stealing it. Because we think they stole our shit, but some of this shit is theirs, y'all. We can't be walking around talking about niggas ain't inventing nothing. Some of these niggas did, like, some of this shit is theirs. Dog sledding and shit, TPs, fried bread, Turtle Island, Siberian war bonnets. What the fuck is a Siberian war bonnet? Type it in like you did Pretendians and watch you be what the fuck? Yeah. A lot of this shit ain't ours. We got different totem poles than them. Okay? Right. Nanook. Yeah, Nanook in them, right? Hey. Man, we are Marukins. Okay? Amaruca Pana. Alright? So this book debunks that whole America came from Amerigo Vespucci and shit. Okay? Because it even talks about it, right? You know, it even talks about it right here in the middle passage which says Amerigo Vespucci, right? And it reads, right? With Amerigo Vespucci as passenger follows Columbus, landing at several places, but was only well received at Amaruca Pana. So this place was already called Amaruca, America Pana, Amaruca, when Albert came with Columbus. Ah, yeah, I forgot. A lot of people don't know that this nigga name was Albert and not Amerigo. They changed his name to Amerigo Vespucci, Amerigo, because they came to Amaru Khan. But in reality, y'all can do y'all research. This nigga name is Albert. So Albert came with Columbus, and historians changed his name to Amerigo. An expedition arrived in the mainland in 1499, following the admiral and in command of Alonso de Ajita, who had with him Albert Vespucci. Because I'm not going to call this nigga Amerigo. I'm going to call this nigga by his real name. Albert Vespucci, who wrote a concise history of his voyage along the coast of Maracapana, or America, and thus has been preserved in an old Spanish book from which we have taken an extract. Okay, so that information is in Spain, and you can find it inside of an old Spanish book. See, this is why we gotta research outside of the colony of America, right? We gotta read these Spaniard books. You gotta translate it. You gotta translate the French, the Dutch, the Germans, the Russians. You gotta translate all these other people books who was here. And you will realize that everybody is telling the truth, and the only people lying is the little hat Z Nation niggas who wrote your McGraw-Hill book and took over your public school and your medicine. And they start force feeding you bullshit. Like that YT Egyptian that was on your page 10 that we all drew on. Okay? Alright? So, I just wanted to blow the dust off this book to show y'all that this book debunks Albert Vespucci. or what you call Amerigo, right? And this book's from 1888. All right, y'all got that screenshot already, right? Let's go to the next book. What's that in Scarface? All right, so let's bounce back to this book, right? Let's bounce back to this book. All right, now, hold on, let me hit my paper plane. All right, let's bounce back to this book. Talking about we'll never be showing sources. All we do is show sources. Nigga, our whole platform is about showing sources. We be telling people how to show sources, right? So now, most so-called Black Americans or so-called African Americans find it difficult to accept themselves as being native or indigenous to the Western Hemisphere because of programmed, fabricated images of native people in the Western Hemisphere. Fake images of their own indigenous ancestors have been routinely drilled into their psyche since birth. The melanated Indian image does not register within their psyche because of the fake imagery programmed that the U.S. government has instilled into their minds of how native or indigenous people of the Western Hemisphere look. The spirit of so-called Black Americans or so-called African American tells them one thing, while the programmed faked images of their own ancestors say another. This all leads to an inner conflict, identity crisis. The U.S. schooling system, or what I like to call it, the indoctrination camps, and the media, or what I like to call it, motion pictures, is the most powerful propaganda tool to the United States disposal, right? Y'all remember that document? All right. Okay. You talk about programming. You got to talk about silent weapons for quiet wars. This is why I can cook any of these pan goofies and natives on this app and any other app with history and with psyops. I could tell you how they COINTELPRO'd us. I could tell you how they brainwashed us with the TV, the images, the McGraw-Hill book. I could tell you about the Tavistock Institute of Social Engineering the Masses. I can tell you about all that. I can tell you about the psyop side, just like the history side, because they go hand in hand. If you're going to change history, you got to create a psyop. So the indoctrination system and the media have been the two biggest giants. Now stop. Who controls media real quick, y'all, before we continue going? Who controls media? Because I'm about to tell you who's doing this. And if you got the slightest common sense, you already know who's doing this. Who controls media? He said 6 companies. Yeah, I know 6 companies, but it's ran by one people. There you go, the little hat people, right? Z Nation, right? Little hat people control media, right? All right. Who control the school system? Same people. Okay. Same people control the school system, the media system. The same people control the DNA companies. The same people control mainstream history and science, which is eugenics. Same people, right? Okay. So are the two biggest giants behind programming into the masses fake fabricated images of native and indigenous people of the Western Hemisphere, aka Indians? What's happening, David? David in the building. Mm-hmm. All right. Indigenous people of the Western Hemisphere, aka Indians, built pyramids and pyramid mounds, just like the ancient Egyptians. This synonymous comparison of both cultures of opposite sides of the world is because they both are genetically linked. They both are the same people. I done already gave y'all books and sources on that one. Same people. The Indians, the so-called Egyptians, the so-called Chaldeans, Sephardic Jews, Moors, whatever you want to call them, Phoenicians, Shamites, Afro-Asiatic, and Black Buddha. Like, all the same people, same culture, same motherfuckers. American Negroes traveled the world, spreading civilization 360 degrees, 360 degrees of knowledge, and we came back home. This is history. During the time of so-called Pangea, which is a Greek word that means all one, all of the continents of the planet Earth were one landmass, right? People lived and thrived during the time of so-called Pangea. This is a large explanation on why pyramid builders of the Eastern Hemisphere and pyramid builders of the Western Hemisphere have cultures that are incredibly synonymous. The continents continue to move. Some move 4 inches a year. The continents will one day become one landmass of land again. The continents are currently separated at this time. However, the genetic link of beings from so-called Pangea never parted. The term Moor was applied to dark-skinned, brown-skinned, reddish-brown-skinned people. The term Moor is an exonym misnomer, but it was applied to dark-skinned, brown-skinned, reddish-brown-skinned people who were not only indigenous to Europe, but to West and North Africa and Indians of the Western Hemisphere, because they were all the same people. Indigenous Black Celts, Indigenous Black Bretons, Indigenous Black Portuguese, Black Spaniards, all also known as so-called Moors, had a long time knowledge of indigenous people in the Western Hemisphere because they're from here. These Moors were well informed of the different customs, traditions, and languages of the indigenous of the Western Hemisphere because they're the same people. These dark-skinned so-called European, or what you call them as Moors, were used as buffers, while pale-skinned Europeans to help colonize the New World. These indigenous Black Europeans, aka Moors, not only solicited the New World to pale-skinned Europeans, but also waged war on the indigenous people of the Western Hemisphere, aka Indians. That is false. Well, I'm not going to say false. The Moors that they're talking about that waged war on the Indians are Arabs, not your North African and your European brothers. The ones that waged war on us was Arabs. This is why Arabs is inside of your community destroying you with the poison, right? Liquor stores and shit, right? They destroying you with the poison, right? They bringing in spice and all that shit into our neighborhoods and shit, right? Still doing the same shit to the Indians. The Arabs are the so-called white people in history. Connor, Hunter, and Sarah and them, they just got here in the 1800s. So who was here that is called YT? The Arabs. They still call white today. All right. All right. Certain Black indigenous Europeans, aka Moors or Arabs, that went under such titles as clergymen in European nobility shared a common consciousness with pale-skinned Europeans, because these pale-skinned Europeans are the albino versions of these dark Arabs. The common consciousness being that the indigenous people of the Western Hemisphere, aka Indians, were so-called untamed heathens and savages, or they also called us pagans. The word pagan just means country dweller, which is most of our Southerners will be called pagans, country dwellers, but they also called us pagans. This is why I say, watch what you say when it comes to some of these holidays. I don't get down with these pagan holidays. Well, it's religious people calling it pagan because they called you pagan. Most of these holidays is your shit. Halloween is the day to honor your ancestors, the Day of the Dead. They took that, corrupted it, and made people put on masks and get candy and shit, right? They always take your shit and corrupt it, right? Thanksgiving, we always been celebrating the first harvest and shit like that. These is your holidays. St. Patrick's Day as well, too. Had an original meaning, but then St. Patrick's came and did what he did to the Chaldeans. Now it's called St. Patrick's because he chased away the serpents, which were the Chaldeans, who were serpent worshippers. And the Chaldeans called America Amaruk. How did the Ireland people know about America? Well, shit, Ireland right there. How could they not know about it? They the same people. All right. What's that in Dallas? All right. All right. So let's keep going though, right? We talking about 103 amazing facts about the Black Indians, right? All right. Most Black Indians of the Western Hemisphere find themselves seduced by European lifestyle customs and traditions. When the American Revolution broke out, Black Indians found themselves fighting against their own kinsmen. Right? Kinsmen. What's that, Abby? Kinsmen. Kinsmen meaning family. Remember, the American Revolutionary was a family feud. It's always called a family feud. All through history, American Revolutionary, Civil War, all this shit was called a family feud. You got cousins that don't like you. You had brothers, sisters, other tribes members, everything like that. Some folks went with the colonizer. You went against them. So therefore, you were fighting your kinsmen. Some Black Indian nations sided with the British, while other Black Indian nations sided with the colonial rebels, aka the Americans. The rebels were the Americans. They told you history backwards. The Union and the Confederacy. The Confederacy is the rebels, who is also known as the Republicans. And the Republican is for the Negro, and the Negro is the American Indian. The people who sided with the other side sided with the Union, which later became United States. So people are forgetting all these other treaties that were signed with the Confederacy. People forgetting the whole Confederate side of history. But that's because it's programmed into your psyche to not even look at the Confederate side of history, because your history is on the Confederacy. You were rebels back then, and your ass is a rebel now. You ain't like being told what to do back then, and you damn sure don't like being told what to do now. You a rebel. All right, what's happening, Samuel? All right. So we just going through 103 amazing facts of the Black Indians because we done gained all this information. So now let's go back and backtrack some shit. After Black Indian nations helped to set up the colonial government, America, the United States of America, is the first Black-owned business. After Black Indian nations helped to set up the colonial government, America, and in addition to help to sponsor military support for the new colonial government, Black Indian nations continue to fight against themselves as they did before and after the Europeans set foot in the Western Hemisphere shores. All Indians don't get along. There has never been a time in history where 100% of us ever got along. We have been fighting each other before these niggas got here, and we gonna be fighting each other after these niggas get here. That's just what the fuck it is. Okay? All right. What's happening, Nate? Nate the Great, that boy said, stop the pretending and cap. I told y'all, it's always niggas that look like you that don't like you. It's always niggas that don't like you. We ain't even have a native come in here and troll us yet. That's crazy, right? Why is it that niggas don't believe that niggas are original to Earth? Why do niggas believe that recessive people is original to anything? It's always niggas. It's always niggas. It's always niggas. But hey, not all skin folk is kin folk though. That nigga probably a Black European. You know what I'm saying? He probably a Black European pretending to be one of us. Not all skin folk are kin folk. Your grandmama told you that, right? So a lot of these niggas ain't our niggas. Right? But just continue reading though, right? Because reading is fundamental. Okay. Black Indians were not conquered by Europeans. Black Indians were not conquered by Europeans or the so-called YT man. Black Indians had a rich history of intertribal warfare amongst each other that continued before and after European arrival. The intertribal warfare that existed amongst the Black Indians in the Western Hemisphere was so great that it left them in a state of impotency, with impotency setting in after years. In addition to the interaction of European trinkets and customs and traditions and the worshiping of the gods named Jesus, all assisted in paving the way for European occupancy of the Black Indian lands and their spirits and minds. Okay? All right? All right. Let's put a pin right there. Just bounce to the next book. All right? Let's put a pin right there. Just bounce to the next book, right? Let's talk about the secret mysteries among the Mayas and the Yushis. 11,500 years ago. Something about that number, right? I got another book that has 11,500 on it. This book was published in 1886. Okay. The Sacred Mysteries of the Mayas and the Yushis, 11,500 years ago. Their relation to the sacred mysteries of Egypt, Greece, Chaldea, and India, right? What India? Freemasonry in times of interior and the temples of Solomon, right? Augustus Le Plégéon, okay? Okay? Go on, get y'all a screenshot. Let me know when y'all got it. Archives.org. Blowing the dust off these old books. Got it? Okay. All right, let's get into it. Flipping the page, right? To their ancestors, and that they imagined that wearing his totem would save them from being wounded with the same kind of weapon used to unalive him, that the inhabitants of Africa had communications with those of the Western continent. There can be no doubt, since populations of Black people existed on the Panama and other localities at the time of the first arrival of the Spaniards. Black people was already here when the Spaniards came. Roll it if you got it. That's what we just read. That's what it literally just said. Black people was already here when the Spaniards rolled up. Ain't nobody bring you here. You was already here. You was already here. You was already here. At the time of the first arrival of the Spaniards. Besides, their picture can be seen in the mural painting at Chichen, right? And they told you that Black people's pictures can be seen engraved in mural paintings in Chichen. Now, however you pronounce that, I probably butchered. You can find our faces all through America. Chiseled, carved, statued, everything, right? Black people was already here before the Spaniards, right? What's that in OG American 2.0? The author of the Torano, Mississippi, a work I have already said in geology, dedicates several pages at the beginning of the second part of the recital of that fearful cataclysm and the phenomenon which then took place. This leaves no longer room for doubting, meaning you can't debunk this or doubt this shit, that a large continent existed in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, right? This book is written in 1886. We always told people to get these old books, 1800s, right? There is no longer room for doubt that a large continent existed in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, and which was destroyed within the memory of man, and that the narrative by Plato of the submersion of Atlantis is in the main correct. The Maya author represents the lost land by a figure of a black man with red lips. That look like, it sound like blackface. They said what? The Maya, right? The Maya. People be like, Pluto is pseudo. Pluto be talking about Atlantis and shit. Pluto got it from the original inhabitants, the Maya. The Maya author represents the lost land, which is Atlantis, which is part of America, by the figure of a black man with red lips, because so-called black people are from Lemuria and Atlantis and America, India Superior, right? Black man with red lips, that's blackface. That's blackface all day long. What's that in G-Actor? Which would imply that it was mostly inhabited by a race of black men. The Maya said this. The Maya. And we know Maya is a Negro too, because her son is a Negro. Because Maya's son is Buddha. Buddha's name is Guada. This is why you got Guatemala. Guatemala literally means Buddha land or land of Buddha, right? Guada is Buddha's name. His mama is Maya. She is a Negro too. All right. Do I believe in Atlantis? Of course I do. Can't nobody explain to me why is there a pyramid at the bottom of the ocean? I don't know why people are having a hard time accepting Atlantis and Lemuria are real islands, nigga. There's pyramids at the bottom of the ocean, and pyramids is attached to land. Fucking pyramids ain't floating in the water. It's just attached to land, nigga. The fuck? The Mayas even wrote about it. The Incas. All of us who claiming to be Mississippians and Indians and come on, bro, descendants of the Mayas and Incas, and your ancestors knew about Atlantis and Lemuria and all this shit and flat earth and domes and firmaments and all this other shit. Why are you having a hard time? Oh shit, because you still got a little bit of the programming to get up out of your system. You still gotta throw up that shit. And it was inhabited by black men. The Maya told you this. Plato got it from the Maya. Let's not forget that Plato and them ancient Greeks are who? Phoenicians. I'm going to say that again. Let's not forget that Plato and the ancient Greeks and Romans were Negroes and they were Phoenicians. Phoenicians have always been in America because they from America. This is why a lot of these people already had knowledge of Amaruka, Atlas, Oceanus, because a lot of these people are from here. America gave birth to many nations that's around the world. We didn't give birth to all nations, but we gave birth to many nations that was hijacked by little hat people and their children. That's a fact. I got the book called Anaclipsis that tell you that you can't mention the origin of nations without mentioning Negroes. That book was published in 1860 something, I think. Anaclipsis that tell you about the Negro Buddha and all the gods was Negroes and everything like that. Tell you about Maya and her son Buddha and everything like that. Man, them folks told you what? You can't mention the origin of nations without mentioning Negroes, nigga. Right? Okay. Which leads me to this recap. Let's blow the dust off of this book. Whew. Y'all get y'all screenshots. I'm giving y'all some gems tonight, man. Hope y'all enjoying the live. Hope y'all enjoying the books. Hope y'all enjoying the read. And I hope y'all getting y'all screenshots. You know what I'm saying? Thank y'all for the likes, the love, the gift. Shout out to everybody that's in here rocking out with your boy, man. You feel me? How I learned a book club. Roll it if you got it. You did. Now I understand why we are the most suppressed. Exactly, Savage Goddess. See, our people is hung up on the word oppress and oppression. The main word we need to be focused on is suppress and suppression, because that's what they're doing to us, which then creates the oppression that we're going through. But they have to suppress us first. All of this is synonymous words with the word disenfranchise. We just became enslaved. This is what disenfranchise. When they talk about disenfranchise a Negro, they talk about enslave the Negro. We just became slaves, and we've been being born into debt slavery for generations now. So the word disenfranchise, right? They say disenfranchise the Negro. First of all, you can only disenfranchise a franchise. A franchise synonym word would be an empire, right? So when you disenfranchise them, you destroy the empire, the nationality, which then gives you ethnocide. Ethnos, nation, nationality, side to unalive. So ethnocide is the literal unaliving of a person's nationality. All right, ethnocide. Okay, this shit just happened to us after 1875. 1900s, they turned it up. Jim Crow gave you psyops and eugenics, reclassifications, tried to deport you to Africa, but that shit couldn't work. Yeah, man, this is real indigenous erasure right here. What's happening? It's your boy 7-4 in the building. Tavion was good. Justice in the building. This is real indigenous erasure. It's real indigenous erasure. So let's go here real quick though, right? The Mysteries of Ancient South America by Harold T. Wilkins. All right, so let's go here. All right. Both he and Senhor Freud have found in the Mato Grossi many inscriptions of the Phoenician, Egyptian, and even Sumerian scripts and hieroglyphs. Okay. Sihar Ramos points out that his Indian forefathers, we are in Brazil, ancient Brazil, unalive cities of ancient Brazil. His Indian forefathers had many traditions of ancient date about a very ancient culture and advanced civilization flourishing thousands of years ago to the north and west of the central highlands of Brazil. Phoenician was found in Brazil. Egyptian and Sumerian scripts and hieroglyphics found in Brazil. All right. What is Phoenician writing doing? What is Phoenician and Egyptian and even Sumerian script and hieroglyphs doing in Brazil? Huh? What is going on here? All right. Salma, the moon, with the Greek word meaning pre-Hellen, right? Go research what Hellenized means. It's going to take you back to little hat people too. It is also significant that Diodorus Scullius, in the 1st century BC historian who drew on archives in the old temples of Carthage, which probably recorded traditions and prehistories derived by the Phoenician in their close kinsmen, the Carthaginian mariners voyaged the Atlantic Moors after the destruction of Atlantis. Right? Phoenicians and their close kinsmen, Carthaginian mariners voyaged to the Atlantic, a voyaging of the Atlantic, after the destruction of Atlantis, or right, America, tells us Basilius, sister of Atlas, which is America, one of the Atlantean kings, which we know Atlantean means American Algonquin nations, right? Remember that book, Algonquin Conquest of the Mediterranean regions, 11,500 years ago? The Atlanteans are who? The Algonquin nations. That's why most of your Moors say that they're Algonquin. Al. The Algonquin, right? All right, put two and two together. You'll get four. He tells us, right? Sister of Atlas, one of the Atlantean kings, a man, not a god. She was a woman and not a goddess, who married her brother Hyperion, who is a Negro, the son or Lucifer. Hyperion is a Negro, right? All the gods are Negroes. Hyperion is the son or Lucifer, the sun and Lucifer, the light bearer, the sun, the light bringer, right? Sun, soul, Lucifer, Lucy, Hyperion, Apollo. Come on, man, right? The land of soul, Amaru Ka, the land of Lucifer, the land of the serpents, indigo children, star seeds, 144,000, right? Who demonized you in history? Little hat people, right? In the fashion of the latter or the later ancient Egyptian pharaohs. Pharaoh, right? Pharaoh, right? Copper color people, right? Americans. Bore him Helio, the sun, and Selene, the moon. Basilius, brother of Atlas, slew Hyperion and drowned the child Helios, the sun. All of this is metaphorical for celestials. Lest Hyperion might take the throne of Atlas. Maddened by these urders, Selene cast herself upon the top of a mountain and perished, while Basilius lost her reason. And when her Atlantean subjects tried to restrain her, a frightful hurricane with lightning and thunder arose, and she vanished. Right? What's that in natural? Peach, natural in the building. If we your muse these myths, right, we might say that what they import is that some cosmic body, right? A lot of these so-called Greek gods, these is just celestial astrology, cosmic stars aligning type of ordeal, which is a map, right? The stars, the cosmos, it's a map. And most of these stars is a map that leads you to certain cities and places in America. We got the Anaclipsis book that tell us that, and we got another book that tell us that, right? Now, when you talk about Greek gods, like for an example, when they mention Oceanus, the god Oceanus, they're talking about America. When they talk about Atlas, the Greek god Atlas, they're talking about another part in America, right? When they talk about the fuck is that Greek god? It's another Greek god. Damn, I can't think of it at the top of my head. But there's another one that leads you to Europe and Germany and Africa and all that type of shit, right? So they use the cosmos as a map of navigation, right? This is where you start getting the whole follow the North Star type shit. All right. But anyways, though, I don't want to get too hung up on that, right? So, I think it is Titus. I don't really want to say what it is unless I got the work in front of me. I don't want to misquote nothing. What's happening, Lily? All right. So now, whether or no Selene, the moon, approaches our own planet, the Earth, after the sun, Helio, had vanished beyond vast clouds into a night of blackness and brought on an appealing cataclysm, the great deluge of the old world, myths and Genesis. But the great deluge of the old world is America. right? Now, me personally, I believe the Little Ice Age and the Great Deluge is one and the same. And I believe that it happened much earlier than what they say, because of the Phantom Dark Ages let us know that the timelines is messed up. There's over 1,000 years of fabricated history to cover up a cataclysm. Because I believe the cataclysm was man-made, personally. I don't believe it was a natural thing. I believe it was man-made. Because technology is old. Ain't none of this shit new. When you talk about HARP and weather control, that shit ain't new. That shit's old technology. Because that deals with frequencies and vibrations. Man, that shit old. Niggas been controlling the weather for a while, bro. That's what I believe. Ain't none of this technology new. There's nothing new under the sun. All right? But we ain't gonna go down that rabbit hole right now, though. But this book right here is pretty dope, right? It gets deep, called The Mysteries of Ancient South America. If y'all want to screenshot it, tap into it. Okay? All right. See, do I got something in this one right here? Just blowing the dust off of old books for everybody. See, what's in this one? The New World Order, the Ancient Plan of Secret Societies. If y'all want to screenshot this one, archives.org, as you can see. Where's the other book you mentioned? Something about anaclipsis. What? I ain't even mentioned nothing like that. I said anaclipsis, not anaclipsis. I'll post that book on the background. I got you, though. Hey, you good, cool, Fox? You straight? Here we go. You want to screenshot it? Just let me know when you get it. Archives.org. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this book was published in 1874. Pretty dope. I tell you, all the guys was Negro, even Negro Buddha in America. All right. So let's go here, right here, though. Right. The New World Order, the Ancient Plans of Secret Societies. All right. Y'all want to screenshot this real quick? I can get my black email together. You said, well, need to see some nation names too. You want me to recap that book, Cool Fox? All you gotta do is just ask me if I can go over that book. If you new to the page, I ain't got no problem with recapping information. What's happening? Artifacts in the building. Lynn in the building. Quan, what's happening? Shout out to everybody that's in here. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for the likes, the love, the gifts. Okay, cool. Mm-hmm. So this book called New World Order, The Ancient Plans of Secret Societies by William T. Steele, Huntington House Publishers. Okay. Shit, nothing, just doing the yearly recap. All right, so we flip this page. All right. We flip this page and it says that secret societies in the ancient Americas. Secret societies have been active in most civilizations since the beginning of recorded history. Primitive secret orders, or first, because that's all primitive means, just means first. Primitive secret orders have existed among African tribes, among the Eskimos, and throughout the East Indies and Northern Asia. American Indians, the Chinese, the Hindus, and even Arabs have elaborated religious and fraternal organizations. Wherever they sprang up, secrecy was maintained in these groups for two reasons. First was to prevent contamination and persecution in the event the rites they practiced were made public. Second, a purpose for secret societies was to create a mechanism for the perpetuation from generation to generation of policies, principles, or systems of learning, confined to a limited group of selected and initiated persons. Ancient Masonic lodges have been discovered amongst the American Indians. This is why a lot of y'all grandparents and great grandparents were Masons. Most of us from the South, descendants of the Mississippian Empire and all that, most of us got Masons in our family somewhere. Whether it's your granddaddy, great granddaddy, great great granddaddy, your 12th grandfather, your great grandmother, Eastern Star, somewhere in your family, somebody is a Mason, the Eastern Star, or some type of fraternal order person, or cousins, or aunts, or something like that, right? All right. And plus, we know America's the real old world. Okay. So now, what's happening? Or peace. So ancient Masonic lodges have been discovered among the American Indians. Former newspaper editor and the 32nd degree Mason John Longard recently found what he called the ancient Indian Masonic Lodge at the Anasazi Indian archaeological site. The Anasazi. Who is the Anasazi, y'all? Who's the Anasazi? He said the Israelites. You can say that if one understands what, you know what I'm saying? If one understands, then you can say that. Or it said the ancient ones, yeah. The ancient ones. There you go. Genius music, us. The Anasazis, us. Ancient ones, hoodoo people, right? The Anasazi was also known as hoodoo people or the legend people as well, right? This is why we got a hoodoo mountains out west by Utah or Utah, right? All right, but we ain't gonna go too deep on that right now. The furniture was placed the same way, and the areas was main ritual took place seem 80% identical to the Masonic lodges in America now. The only difference was these temples were round. Then I did some research and found out that the Northern Africa, the Masonic temples started out round, right? There go the connection to North Africa again. There go the connection to North Africa again. Something about American Indians in North Africa. There's something about the American Indians in North Africa. But we're going to continue going. In the ancient lodge, he was able to decipher the symbols left by the Anasazi Masons that led him to a, quote, locator device, unquote. The device in turn led to a hidden library. In this library, there were 50 rocks and clay tablets, which he dates between 1000 to 1200 AD, written in what appears to be Arabic. It is interesting to note that the name Anasazi means ancient ones. Even the name America may be the product of ancient American secret societies, meaning America has always been the name of this continent. It did not come from Albert Vespucci. America has always been this name. America, Amaru Ka, Amaru Campana, Morica, Amaruka, land of serpents, serpent seeds. In an 1895 edition of the magazine called Lucifer, okay, published by the Occult Promoting Theosophical Society, author James Price gave an interesting insight to the meaning of the word America. He said that the supreme god of the Maya or Mayan culture of Central America, known as Quetzalcoatl elsewhere, was known in Peru as Amaru. Amaru's territory was known as Amaru Ka. From the latter comes our word America. From the latter comes our word America. The word America comes from Amaru Ka. Amaru Ka is literally translated to the land of the plum serpent. The priest of this god of peace once ruled the Americas. All the red men, copper-colored, dark-skinned indigenous people of this land who have remained true to the ancient religion is still under their sway. All right. The New World Order, the ancient plan of secret societies. So what these Pan-Africans talking about? It came from Amerigo Vespucci. No, it didn't. That ain't even his name. His name is Albert. Alberto. Albertius. That's what his name was. Hell, Christopher Columbus ain't even his fucking name. Ain't none of these niggas' names what they are. Me personally, I don't even believe half these niggas existed. I'm just gonna keep it all the way $120 with y'all right now. I don't believe half these niggas existed. If these niggas been lying to us about history, why would they stop? If they lied to us about niggas coming over on a wooden boat, why wouldn't they lie about these niggas coming on a wooden boat? I'm just being real. Me personally, I don't believe Columbus ever existed. I don't believe Albert Vespucci existed. I don't believe De Soto existed. I don't believe none of these niggas existed, honestly. Me personally. That's just me. You know what I'm saying? Because when you research into these explorers and their history and lives, there's holes inside their story too. I done looked into the life of De Soto, this nigga growing up. I done looked into the life of Columbus. It's holes in all these nigga stories. And then they don't even know the birth year of some of them. Some of them be like about 1400s or maybe the 13 something. Like, nigga, you don't even know when this nigga was born. So not only if you giving us a wrong name, you don't know when these niggas was born. When did they pass away? Well, he passed away about 15 something. We don't know when this nigga was born and when he passed away. What? Far the sun from the stars and from Earth. Y'all know how fast Earth rotating. Niggas know all this other shit, but y'all don't know when niggas was born and passed away, nigga. I'm telling you, they took the events in 1800s and created a colonial period out of it. I promise you, colonization began in the 1800s around the globe. That's when I believe colonization really happened. Because before the 1800s, in the mid 1800s, you had catastrophics and deluges and famines and weather manipulations and ice ages going on. I got the book about the little ice age. From the 1300s to 1850s. And it's crazy. Check this out. The Phantom Timeline tell you that the Middle Ages and colonial period was made up anyway. Okay? Because when you research the Middle Ages and all that, it leads to the colonial period. And they said from the end of the Dark Ages to the Middle Ages, all the way up to the 1500s, all of that shit was made up. This is called the Phantom Timeline theory. They say all that shit was made up, right? All the way to the 1500s. Made up. The little ice age from 1300s to the 1850 tells us that there was a mini ice age that happened. Crops were not being grown. Malnutrition, disease, and sickness was taking over. And damn near 1 billion people passed away during this time. You having 5,000 volcanic eruptions going off continually. It's all type of crazy shit happen. Floods and shit. This is why I say that the deluge happened way earlier than what they try to make it. So if you got all these European, and most of this shit is happening in European states, and they want you to think, oh, Europeans and YT people came and colonized and enslaved everybody. All of this shit that I'm telling y'all was happening in Europe. These niggas was going through a black plague and fucking typhoid fever, malnutrition. Niggas wasn't growing crops and anything. That's the whole reason why they came over here in the first place, because they was starving. That's the whole reason why they was coming over here in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for the gifts, Copper. Copper in the building. That's why they came over here. They was looking for the land of milk and honey. It wasn't over there. They ain't find that bitch in Africa. They ain't find it in China, and damn sure ain't find it in Europe. Niggas came over here and they ain't left yet. America's a real old world. Damn near 1 billion people passed away in Europe. The Black Plague itself took 3/5 of the population, and that's just the Black Plague. You don't want to talk about the typhoid fever. You don't want to talk about starvation. You don't want to talk about all that other shit. So if all this stuff going on, how is niggas got time to sell their ass over here? We talking about little ice age, freezing temperatures, no food, nothing. How is niggas got the strength and energy to make a boat, enslave niggas, and do all this transportation shit? What type of superhumans? These niggas is malnutrition and still enslaving people, right? Is what you want me to believe. Yeah, all right. We'll let it breathe for a second, though. You know, when we start getting a little too deep. Right. Ain't no slave ships. Where's the boats? But what about the census records, though, Los? 1840s to 1860 census records have been falsified and altered to show that there were more slaves than free colored people. And this is why you got to be careful when you build your trees, because they was even creating census records. These niggas was making this shit up as they go along. And then other census records was burned and destroyed. All right. Yeah, facts. So most historians, see, we just read that Amaruka is where you get America from, the land of serpents. Most historians attribute the name America to the explorer Albert Vespucci, but Manly Hall claims that since the serpent is frequently symbolic of Lucifer, it is no exaggeration to extrapolate from this that America may well mean land of Lucifer. Lucifer. Excuse me, you said what? The serpent is frequently a symbolic of Lucifer. Leviathan and shit, right? Sea serpent. Right? Leviathan, sea serpent, Lucifer, right? Lucifer and Satan are two different beings or entities. Don't get it confused. Lucifer and Satan are not the same. The little hat people want you to think that, but they're not. It is no exaggeration to extrapolate or polite from this that America may well mean land of Lucifer, land of serpents, land of Lucifer, land of light, land of soul, land of sun. Ameri, soul, Rika, rich, land of rich soul. Soul means sun, children of the sun. You, she means children of the sun. We are soul beings. Not all kinfolk. Not all skin folk is your kinfolk. Kinfolk, kin, kayin mean son, soul. Folk means family, friend, kinfolk. Not all skin folk is your soul brother. Not all skin folk is your soul sister. Not all skin folk is a child of the sun. Just because a nigga is dark skinned, that don't mean that they are a child of the sun. It's a lot of Negroes out here with beastly ways. It's a lot of Negroes that like they steak still red on the inside. It's a lot of Negroes that lay down with the beast. It's a lot of Negroes that don't like you. Because not all skin folk is your kinfolk, nigga. To the secret societies, Lucifer is always depicted as a benevolent, peace-loving God with nothing but the best intentions for the human race. Damn, where that book at? Because King James telling us another story. King James ain't telling us that. In Greek mythology, he was Prometheus. Prometheus is Mexico. Oh, I got that book too. Prometheus cosmology is Mexico. And Prometheus and Medusa got married and had little kids. But we ain't gonna get too far in Greek mythology right now though, right? I don't want to confuse, I don't want to lose nobody. I'm just dropping little side gems. In Greek mythology, he was Prometheus. So when you read in Greek mythology and you hear Prometheus, you're talking about so-called Lucifer. Lucifer is America. See how you can use Greek mythology and the stars to bring this shit back to America every time? Because America's the real old world. It's the land of milk and honey. The cosmology will lead you over here to the land of milk and honey if you know how to read the stars. The Titan who defied Zeus to bestow the gift of fire upon mankind, an act for which he was tortured mercilessly. Interestingly, the international knowledge of secret societies is commonly referred to as light and associated with fire. Among Luciferians, God is seen as evil, trying to keep knowledge away from man. Genesis. Inside the Garden of Eden, there's two so-called gods, two deities. You got one God that wanted to keep humans or God's children ignorant. Then you had your actual God who's giving you knowledge of this matrix world that you are in, which is the knowledge of good and evil, which gives you what? Consciousness. So one God gave you consciousness. The other God wanted to keep you unconscious. Okay? The same scenario was repeated in the Garden of Eden. I just said it. I should have just kept reading. When the snake explained to Adam and Eve that God didn't want them to have knowledge that would make them wise. In Central and South America, the land of dark-skinned natives, hold on, I gotta do it, hold on, hold on. They said in Central and South America, all right, it says Central and South America, the land of dark-skinned natives or indigenous people. Now, these niggas right here, this ain't dark-skinned, right? That book said the land of dark-skinned indigenous people. This ain't dark-skinned. Even though they want you to believe that history is talking about these niggas. These niggas are hybrids. They are racially ambiguous people. They just got this phenotype. This phenotype, this skin, this hair, this shit is new. This ain't no ancient skin type. This ain't no ancient phenotype. This ain't no ancient hair. Ain't shit ancient about this. This shit just popped up. That means everything before this phenotype was Negroes. Okay, for layman's terms, right? This is why you can find Negro gods everywhere. Right? Y'all remember I showed y'all the Negro Buddha? Okay, I'm showing y'all Negro Shiva. Okay? Right? I'm showing you Negro Shiva, right? I just showed you Negro Buddha all the time. Right? This is why all the gods is Negroes. Right? All the gods Negroes around the world. All of them. Okay. Let's continue reading. Where we at with it? Can you get a picture of the first one? Yeah, I'll go back. Mm-hmm. Shout out to everybody that's in here. I appreciate y'all. So where's the trolls now? Ah, shit, the trolls watching, getting their screenshots. Yeah. Right. Land of the morning star. The soul rises and sets. Right. Serpent Mound, bro, is in America, and also the star alignment of the serpents in America. Yup. What's happening, Lila? Right. He said, nah, for real, it's over for them. Hey, we are at the age of Aquarius, man. The age of Aquarius. These folks thought that we weren't gonna start reading again. That's what it was. They thought that we weren't gonna start reading. So, so in Central and South America, the land of dark-skinned indigenous people, or so-called natives, right? Quetzalcoatl was said to be a white man, right? That white man is an albino. Don't get it twisted. Excuse me, because a lot of people like to read that passage and they like to run with it. But this is an albino, because before you get to modern whitey people, you got to have an albino first. In these times, it was only us and albinos. Okay? So Quetzalcoatl was an albino. All right? With a strong body, broad forehead, large eyes, and a flowing beard. He wore a mitre on his head similar to the headdress worn by the Egyptian goddess Isis in ancient Egyptian drawings. Quetzalcoatl dressed in long white robes, reaching his feet, which were covered with the design of red crosses. This brings to the mind the garb of British crusaders. And as we now know, the rosy cross symbol is the one employed by another modern day secret society, the Rosicrucians. Okay? They got everything from here. Quetzalcoatl left the Americas and entrusted his teachings and the purpose of his mission to a secret order of priests until the day when he returned to rule again. That sounds familiar, right, in your Bible? This is why when Spanish explorers first set foot in Central America, they were greeted as returning gods because native legend had predicted the returning of the white-faced Quetzalcoatl. All right. Okay. He said spank them. All right. Man. So let's get back. So let's unpin. All right. So let's take the pen out of this book, right? Let's take the pen out of this book. And let's get back into 103 amazing facts, right? All right. Let's get back into it. So where we at? Trying to see if we read this. Okay, here we go. So now, during the American War, quote unquote, Black Indians joined the Confederate armies, right? Black Indians joined the Confederate armies in hope of winning and to secure what little ancestral land they had left. Why did we join the Confederacy? We was trying to secure what little ancestral land we had left. Land grab. Other Black Indians joined the Union side of the American Civil War to fight for their own objective as well. One of those objectives being seeking so-called prosperity within the American system that we have today. Nicka Jack, right? Nicka Jack. Nicka Jack, also known as Nigga Jack, was a Black Chickamauga or a Black Indian. This ancestor led raids against the colonial rebel army Americans during the Colonial Rebellion Uprising or American Revolutionary War. He fought alongside of the British Tories. His hideout was a cave in the vicinity of what is now known as Chattanooga, Tennessee. In the state of Georgia, in the region now known as Cobb County, ATL in the building, there is a park, a road, and a creek named after this great warrior, okay? There were thousands upon thousands of Black Indians who fought in the American Civil War and in wars before and after this was who were Black Indians of the Western Hemisphere region, but were oblivious to this fact. They only thought themselves to be so-called Negroes. Their parents and their parents' parents who had the knowledge of themselves, tribal identity, in all honesty, simply passed down or passed on to the next generation the colonized title of Negro to their children. This is an unbroken chain of ignorance that continues to survive today. Okay? Most Buffalo soldiers were Black Indians. My folks be on talking about no Buffalo soldiers. Most Buffalo soldiers, because I don't even understand why you gonna call an African Buffalo soldier anyway. That shit, Buffalo soldiers sound very indigenous to me. But anyways, though, most Buffalo soldiers were Black Indians, dispatched by the Union Army to assist in the colonizing and confiscation of other Indian lands west of the Mississippi River. Reservation natives, right, who don't know the true history, who are also brainwashed by images, feel that the Buffalo soldiers, who are ill mistaken and ill classified as African Americans, helped the paleface drive them off the lands into reservations, which is all cap, because those natives that was on the reservations are called Los Indios Amigos, or Indios Auxiliary, or Indian Auxiliary, or Friendly Indians, or my favorite term, Indian Conquistadors. Okay? Yeah. All right. What's that? Agent 50 in the building. Agent 50. That boy can't stay away. He can't come on a backup page. Many Black Indians who fought in the American Civil War, either on the Confederate side or the Union side, were not acknowledged as being indigenous or native. They were acknowledged as being Negroes. Most of the Navajo code talkers who were used to assist the U.S. government in World War II were blue Black Indians. The photo and film footage of the Black Navajos who participated in this war were carved out of history. Right? Carved out of history. That boy said, "What up, history hustler passing through?" Ah, shit, nothing. Fake ass African. This nigga, little history hustlers. This is pseudo African. This nigga think he African. I'm still waiting on that nigga to move back. Why Pan Africans won't move back to Africa? That shit crazy. But anyways, though, the term Negro in color was not only applied to black Indians to psychologically and spiritually remove them from their lands, these colonial or colonized titles were also applied to black Indians who were incorporated into the slave market. Right? Slave market. Indian slavery. Black Indians did slave raids on each other before and after European arrivals. Black Indians owned other black Indians as slaves. These slaves were also classified as Negroes. European writers took advantage of number 56 fact above to say that Indians owned slaves. Fake European images of so-called Indians were promoted, showing so-called Indians owning slaves. Art paintings were displayed. No real photographs, but art paintings were displayed, showing distorted images of natives in the Western Hemisphere owning dark-skinned people as slaves, right? Art paintings, no real pictures. And trust me, the camera was invented when slavery was still here, and you ain't got that one photo of real slavery. Now, motherfuckers will go and get an old picture of Negroes working in the fields, talking about these are slaves. Those were farmers. And most of y'all are city Negroes. And most city Negroes don't know what the fuck farmers look like. See, I'm a country boy, straight from Georgia, right? Had family and farms and all that type of shit. You gonna wear your worst clothes to do farm work. You ain't about to be doing no farm work and no J's and no Gucci and shit like that. And you gonna get your trashiest attire to do the dirtiest work. And motherfuckers took photos and tried to say that those were slaves. But you ain't got that one real picture of a nigga coming off a boat. You ain't got no real picture of a motherfucker being whipped. You ain't got no real picture of a motherfucker in chains in America. You ain't got that one real picture of no type of slavery that they try to show you. You got pictures of white slaves. You got pictures of even Chinese slaves. But you ain't got no real picture of American Negro slaves. What's happening, hippie? And that's a fact. Okay? Because most of us done already did our census records. Most of us can't find a slave in that bit. Right? Most of us did our census records. Can't find a slave in that bit, right? Most of us are free coloreds. And we know that free coloreds are often applied to Indians. All right, so let's keep going, though. So the fake images of indigenous people of the Western Hemisphere, which usually displays them as having pale skin, shows them owning slaves whose skin was always depicted as being dark. Pale-skinned Europeans helped to create a consciousness which subliminally says that slaves and Negroes are synonymous. And that shit still go on today. When people hear slave, they think you. They think 100% of Negroes around the world come from slavery. The only way Negroes could ever be on these different continents is if YT people brought them there. You know how many fucking ships you need to bring? For one, YT people is 7% of Earth's population. So that means 93% of Earth is dark-skinned and so-called Negroes. You know how many ships you got or ships you need to transport 93% of us? Y'all better stop giving these niggas all that damn power. These niggas can't even keep their house in order and discipline their kids, let alone discipline some Negroes. I'm being for real. Nigga can't even discipline their kids, let alone discipline us, nigga. The fuck? Y'all be silly as hell. But anyways, though. So So somehow, in some way, during this propaganda programming that slave and Negroes are synonymous, Pan-Africans love to keep you thinking that you was a slave. When most people hear and read about a slave, simultaneously, the image of a dark-skinned person appears in their mind. By showing fake pale so-called Indians and Negroes are too, oh my bad, by showing fake pale-skinned natives owning dark-skinned people, help to create the illusion that so-called Indians and Negroes are two separate races, when in instance, they are the same people. They're the same people. What's happening, Voodoo Chief in the building? Peace, peace. The same people. The U.S. government and U.S. government-sponsored natives, or industrial Indians, like I like to call them, are preaching a doctrine that says that so-called black people became Indian or native people as a result of acquiring citizenship with different indigenous nations here on Western soil, as to say that no dark-skinned people lived in the Western Hemisphere up to the transatlantic African slave trade, which is cap. This tactic is exercised in attempts to discredit COINTELPRO. What is COINTELPRO, y'all? COINTELPRO was created to discredit so-called black nationalists. A black nationalist is just melanated people fighting for a nationality. So why would they create a COINTELPRO that suppress you for fighting for a nationality? All right. So this was an attempt to discredit COINTELPRO, indigenous black Indians, from claiming their true homelands, and subliminally support that ridiculous notion that every dark-skinned person that is interpreted as black is from Africa. Okay? Y'all good? Y'all straight? Keep reading. All right. If y'all new, hey, thank y'all for the gifts. If y'all new to the page, go ahead and follow the page right now so you can be notified every time I go live. I'm one of TikTok's most shadow bands. Gotta tap in when you can see me, because after I end my live, you might not see me no more. Shout out to all my subscribers. Shout out to everybody that's in here. Thank y'all for the support. Thank y'all for the likes, the love, the gifts. Thank y'all for the Cash App donations. For those who donated, for tipping the waiter, for doing a good job. I really do appreciate that. And for those that's inside the Telegram, I done dropped these books in there already. Go ahead and download them things. And for those who is new to the page, if you want to be part of the Telegram, you can subscribe to the page for $2.99 a month. So you can get subscriber-only lives, you can get the telegrams, you can get all the books that's inside my library and all that downloaded straight to your phone and all those type of things like that. Or if you just want to simply send in a donation, I send you the link to the Telegram, and you can still get the books, the gems, the informations, and everything. I post all my sources and all my books in there for people who want to download it. All right. So now, with that being said, just a little commercial. Let's keep reading though, right? So, most black Indians today refuse to accept that they're indigenous because they have fallen victim to the spell of fake images. If their hair isn't straight or curly, if their cheekbones not high enough, if their eyes not slanted, and if their skin not light or reddish hue, they just simply decide that they're black from Africa. Okay? Thank y'all for the gifts. Okay, I got you, hippie. I thought I sent it to you already. I got you. We dealing with that right now. We dealing with number 60 right now. Most black Indians today refuse to accept that they are indigenous because they have fallen victim to the spell of fake images, propaganda, silent weapons for quiet wars, COINTELPRO, MK Ultra. If their hair isn't straight enough or curly, or their cheekbones not high enough, or eyes not slanted, and their skin not light or reddish hue or pale, they just simply decide that they are black from Africa. Excuse me. Okay? Most black Indians of the Western Hemisphere who are falsely labeled as African Americans and Black Americans fought for civil rights during the 1940s through the 1960s. 1968 Civil Rights Act. My bad. Damn, I got country real quick. My fault, y'all. 1968 Civil Rights Act is called the Indian Civil Rights Act. 1940s, what was we fighting for? Urban relocation policy, 1950, and the termination policy, which terminated 103 tribes from history. That's why you don't hear about it. The Relocation Act of 1950s relocated those terminated tribes to urban areas. Now, when you hear the word urban, Joya and Manny and these natives don't come to mind. When you hear urban, you think hip hop, rap, jazz, blues. You think swag. You think ebonics. You think us. We are called urban Indians. Non-reservation Black Indians are called urban Indians. And we are the most largely overlooked population in America that they don't even, well, they keep documentation, but they'll never show you. Okay? All right? All right. So we fought for civil rights during the 1940s and 1960s because I ain't never seen no African marching with us. But they were known as Black Indians or being indigenous. Some knew and some didn't. They went under the cloak title of Negro Civil Rights Movement, aka Black Indian Civil Rights Movement. Most interstate highways and roads in what is now known as the United States of America used to be at one time Black Indian trails and pathways that led to other Black Indian towns in so-called Black Indian cities. The paths were widened and laced with concrete and renamed as interstate highways by the Pale ones. Most cities and towns today in what is now known as the United States of America sits on top of ancient Black Indian cities and towns that were there first. Most cities and towns today in what is now known as the United States of America sit on top. All right, when you talk about Tartaria, talk about these Tartaria buildings, right? The modern buildings sit on top of ancient Black Indian cities. The Tartaria buildings is your buildings. The Tartaria cities is your cities. When you look up pictures of the World Fair and all of that's your shit. When we was inventing 50,000 inventions in the 1800s, no one have ever thought, nigga, that's Tartaria World Fair days. When we was the Republicans and this was the Republic of America, and for the Republic for which it stands, nobody thought, hey, the Republic was for the Negro. Confederacy, rebel. Hold on, something ain't sitting right here. Yes, nigga. This was your shit. It still is your shit. The YT race never created or invented nothing. They only founded shit. This is why they always tell you this building was founded in 18 something, which is always after a mud flood date. It was founded here. They only found shit. They ain't never invent or created nothing. They only find shit. All right? Pay attention to the terminology. All through history, you'll never hear them say, we created. It's always, it was established. It was founded. Never created. Never invented. They stole your shit. They stole your history. They stole your towns. They stole your inventions. They stole your swag. They stole your language. They stole everything. And when I say they stole your language, they are wearing your language, right? Because that's the narrative. Man, they stole our culture. They stole our tradition. They stole our language. Let me tell you something. If a person steal your Jordans, ain't they gonna wear your shit? If somebody stole your car, ain't they gonna ride your shit? This how I know that English didn't come from them, because they stole your language and now everybody's speaking English. Come on, stop playing with me. Everybody stole your culture. Now everybody is doing your swag. Everybody's speaking Ebonics. Everybody is rapping. Everybody's a trapper. Everybody's a drill rapper. Everybody is twerking. Everybody is doing all this shit. Everybody's looking like you, sounding like you, talking like you, because they stole your culture and they put that shit on. Just like if a motherfucker stole your shirt, they gonna put that shit on. They got that shit on though, right? They got that shit on, man. Okay. All right. All right. In most cities and towns in what is now known of the United States of America, there remains hundreds of thousands of melanated Indian burial grounds under the concrete as a result of casualties as war. What he just said, he said something that I've been preaching since day one. Your ancestors, my ancestors, your ancestors is underneath our feet. People, where's y'all burial grounds then? Where's your history? Under the concrete, flooded underneath Lake Lanier, B.O.M.B.'d. Everywhere you walk. This is why I love horror movies though, right? The reason why I love horror movies and poltergeist movies and shit like that, because it's YT people always being hunted by some type of Indian spirit. Now that I know that the Indian is us, and all these houses and all this stuff is built on our burial grounds, man, I be rooting for them niggas. I'm like, come on, man. For real, I be rooting for the Indian ancestors, the poltergeist. Man, get these niggas through that TV. For real. Hey, look, for real. I be loving it. But they put it right in your face, though, and you don't even know it. Right? Hollywood always put the truth in your face, whether it's through a horror movie, sci-fi movie. But you are the Indian, and your ancestors is always hunting these grounds. Why you think you don't ever be hunted? See, everybody else hunting story is different, even ours, if you pay attention. Everybody else be like, oh my God, I moved into this house. They was like, get out. And they start doing all this crazy shit. Oh my God. When it come to us, it be little shit like, where my keys at? Man, this house playing, man. Hey, give me my keys back on some joke shit. Because your ancestors is practical jokers even in the afterlife. This is just what it is. We don't get haunted like everybody else. We don't be waking up fucking scratched up, bite marks and beat up and shit written on the walls. Get out. We don't be going through that shit. We be going through little shit like the cabinets opening, keys misplaced, shit like that. Motherfucker you be walking through the door and your belt loop get caught by the door. You know, like we get shit like that by our ancestors. You know what I'm saying? One of the reasons why they disconnected you from the burial grounds of your ancestors is because the burial grounds hold energy of your ancestors, and you can tap into that energy of your ancestors if you go back. They made us scared of our own ancestors, my nigga. This is why you can't tap into certain energies, because they made you scared of your own ancestors. Grave sites, burials are consecrated grounds, holy grounds that hold energy of our people. It's why you're supposed to always visit the dead. You're supposed to always honor and respect the dead. You're supposed to tap in, because energy doesn't die. It just transferred. And we're not tapping into the ancestral energy, so the ancestors are just floating around, waiting for you to tap in, because it's all energy. Stop being scared of your people. Stop being scared of your people. Sometimes the shadow in the corner ain't even nothing evil. Sometimes just your ancestors watching over you while you sleep. A shadow or dark figure don't mean evil. That's what they want you to believe because they're demonizing you. All right. Okay. Y'all get it? St. Louis, Missouri used to be a black Indian city called Cahokia or Cahokia. At one time was the largest city north of Mexico, and at one time one of the largest cities in the world, right? St. Louis, Mound City. Outranking most cities in Europe, right? St. Louis, right? Mound City, right? St. Louis, Mound City, right? Cahokia. Y'all go to the Cahokia Mounds if you can. Beautiful place. I loved it. The energy was beautiful when I got to the top of the mound. Right? I'll repost it to my story when I went to the Cahokia Mounds for those who missed it. Beautiful place. The energy was beautiful. The oxygen was good. Just that high. I'm talking about the mound was so high. I seen all the way to St. Louis. I'm talking about I seen the arch and everything. And if you turn around, you can see Chicago. That's how high that mound is. I climbed to the top. The wind got the breezing. The energy got the flowing. Man, I had to spark up one for the ancestors very indigenously. I'm not even capping, man. Let me go ahead and blow one for the ancestors, my G. Very indigenously. Gotta pay your respects. Okay? Thank you for the gifts, Dallas. You're keeping it all the way 100. I'm gonna always do what I do very indigenously. Shit. This shit was put here for me and you. You take advantage, man. Take advantage. You feel me? Shit. It was no. This plant was really put here for us. This plant is indigenous to America. Why you think it grows so freely in Jamaica the way it do? Ain't nobody drop no seeds in Jamaica and start cultivating that shit. That shit grow wild in Jamaica. That shit grow wild in a lot of the West Indian islands. Some of our folks ain't gonna tell you where it's at. But in the West Indies, that shit grow wild. And it used to grow wild here in America too until they had that what they had? They had Reefer Madness. When they came out with that movie, that's when they start tearing up all of our HEMP and cannabis plants. That shit used to grow wild all through America. That was one of our major cash crops that they not gonna tell you about. In a lot of these stories and books, that tobacco ain't tobacco that they talking about. Real talk. That tobacco ain't tobacco that they talking about. That's what they called it because they never encountered a plant like that. But they just, only thing they knew was tobacco at that time. So they was like, yeah, this shit's that too. Why you think you so much accustomed to being a flowerist? For a lot of my brothers out there and sisters too, why you think it's in your blood to be a flowerist if you get my drift? When them pockets, when you take a loss in the real world, you be like, damn, my pocket's hurting. No, I'm losing it all. First thing come to your mind is trade and bartering. Why? It's because you indigenous. Man, I got to trade and barter this damn plant. I got to get back what I lost. It's in your blood. It's in your blood. It's in your blood to be a trade and barterer, or what we call a trapper today. Oh, fur trader. Oh, man. It's in your blood. Pete gang. I ain't gonna tell you. Look, I'm gonna tell you a joke, but I ain't gonna tell you no lie. You feel me? Hell yeah. Big engine business. Big engine business, man. All right, where we at with it? Where we at? What's this? See, what book is this? What book is? Ah, okay. Where we at? Hold on, I gotta blow this up real. Never mind the picture. I know y'all like, what you showing us a picture of yourself for? I'm showing a picture of myself because this is what you call Indian red, right? A lot of us went to school. We had the crayon called Indian red, but for those that want to know what Indian red is, when they be like the red Indian or Indian red, it ain't got shit to do with pale people. It's your complexion. You are Indian red. Okay? You are Indian red, my G. Right? So this is why I brought out this document called the hybrid types of the human race. If y'all want to screenshot this, we're talking about hybrids, cross races, racially ambiguous people, right? We know that can't be original. Inside of this document, right? Inside of this document, when they talk about hybrid types of human, do you know who is the first two people on here? Who is the first two people on here when they talk about hybrid types of humans? Hybrids cannot be original. Why can't hybrids be original? Because hybrids are crossbred. It takes two or more nationalities or races to create such phenotypes. Exactly. And look who they calling uncivilized, right? Look who's on top, right? You got your SA and your native, the two people that be calling you Wabo. This picture screams Wabo. Wabo! You guys are pretendians. Wabos. Niggas is Africans. Go back to Africa. Man, this shit scream that shit. But here's the problem with that. You know the races, the so-called race, you know the races that make the first two people? Most of us already know this. But for those who don't know, and those in the hallway, and the trolls that's listening, for figure number 19, which is your essay, right? We know that it takes a so-called black person, right? Whether it's copper-colored, dark-skinned Indian, whether it's a Moor, which reason why most Mexicans call themselves Moreno or Morisco when you ask if they're black, right? So Indigenous American, dark-skinned, copper-colored, right? Moors, right? European Moors, right? Spaniard, huh? And Anglo-Saxons, which is your YT people. You mix all three of them up and sprinkle a little Filipino in there, you get your essay. When it comes to the natives, guess what? You still need that Negro element. When you take a Negro and you mix them with a Chinaman or a East Asian or a Siberian, and you sprinkle a little white person on top of that, you get the Native American. Everybody that has a Mongolian spot come from American Negroes. Clear as day. That's a fact. It's not pseudo and then. If you have a Mongolian spot in your family, you have an American Negro in your blood somewhere. Because the Mongolian spot originated with the American Negro. Huh? And from the American Negro, it went to China, it went to Japan, it went to Taiwan, it went to Hindustan, huh? It went to Saudi Arabia with the Arabians, right? It went to Iran, it went to Palestine, it went to North Africa and West Africa. It came back to America. It's crazy how you can track human migration pattern using the Mongolian spot, but the problem, it doesn't come from Africa. The Mongolian spot does not come from Africa. All right. So now, going through the sources, going through the books, going through the documents, going through the history, going through the census record, going through everything that we know, the statues, the artifacts, everything. There's no way in hell that the people on the right are the people on the left. I'm going to say that again. There's no way in hell that the people on the right are the people on the left. But that's what they want you to believe. Jalito, that's what they want you to believe, though. They want you to believe that the folks on the right are the people of the left. But we know Athabascans and Russian Creoles and Russian Americans and Alaskan natives and Canadian natives and shit. We know they're not the Olmecs, the Incas, nor the mound builders. That's why the so-called Native Americans will always tell you, that was already built when we got here. Who built them? Don't nobody want to tell you. It was people that look like us who built them. It can't be people that look like y'all because y'all said it was already built when y'all got here. So that means that the people who built it don't look like y'all. So who built it? Who built these Tartaria buildings? Who built these mounds, these pyramids? Who invented 50,000 inventions that push society forward? Who got ethnocide? Who got indigenous erased? Who got strange fruited? Who got reclassified? Who got burned alive? Who got ate? Yeah, I said it. Because it wasn't y'all. I'm saying in fair use. Because it wasn't y'all. Who got reclassified to color? It wasn't y'all. Who they tried to send back to Africa, but they couldn't? It wasn't y'all. Y'all was on the reservations at this time. By the time of reclassification of the American Indian to colored and Negro, so-called natives was already on the reservations. So they wasn't going through none of this shit. Huh? But for some reason, everywhere you go, the dark indigenous people share the same culture or similar culture. That's because we descend from the same Olmeca society. We descend from the same ancient ones. When people talk about West Indies, I don't think they understand what the West Indies is. Right? So this is what the West Indies was from the 1700s to 1835. The West Indies, inside of your history books from now on, when you read in history books that talk about 1700s to 1835 and they mention West Indians, they're talking about this map right here, which includes Virginia, North Carolina, East Florida, South Carolina, West Florida, Georgia, Louisiana, and the Gulf of Mexico, which puts you in Mississippi, with part of the coast of South off of Mexico, which puts you in Mississippi, with part of the coast of South America, from the Bay of Honduras to the mouth of the River of Orinoco, from the latest and best authorities and actual observations. West Indians. Why you think we all like oxtails? Why you think we all like jerk chicken and shit? Why you think we all got a beef patty? Yeah, we all got a beef patty. Jamaica got a beef patty. Haiti got a beef patty. Puerto Rico got a beef patty. Louisiana got a beef patty. Mississippi got a beef patty. We all got beef patties. And why am I putting emphasis on beef patties? Because food is culture. When you follow the food, you find your people. When you follow the Naga, the serpent, you find your people. When you follow the history, the artifacts, when you find your people. All right? Rice and beans. Nigga, we all like rice and beans. Seafood boils. Gumbo. Jambalaya. Cornbread. Yeah, I said cornbread, not cornbread. Cornbread. Or we call Indian bread, huh? That shit everywhere. Same people. The Mardi Gras Indians, the West Indian costumes, traditions. Okay? So it is safe to say that we West Indians. All right? 911. Grits, yep. All right? Definitely grits. The magnificent. You can find grits inside this encyclopedia of American Indian contributions to the world. It got grits in there. Grits come from corn. All right? Grits is inside this book. Grits is an American Indian thing. And everybody in the South eat damn grits. Fish and grits, shrimp and grits. You know what I'm saying? Grits is a staple. And you know something crazy? Most of those 50,000 inventions that we invented is inside this book right here. I ain't even capping. Grits is native to South Carolina, facts. I ain't even capping. All of our inventions that we created, you can find them shits right here inside this encyclopedia. Crazy, right? But yeah, instead they got these Ethabaskins on the cover. right? And inside this book, Encyclopedia of American Indian Contributions to the World, it tell you what, cornbread, number one, right? Encyclopedia of American Indian Contributions to the World, cornbread, all right, cornbread, not fry bread, not Navajo bread, fried, we talking about cornbread, Indian bread, barbecues, barbecues, American Indian culture, barbecues. It was like 70 degrees down south. I know somebody cracked that grill open. Listen, y'all, boy, look. Hey, man, I ain't been that gone. I ain't been gone from the south that long. As soon as that weather hit 65, 70, we are breaking out the grill. It ain't even got to be a holiday, nigga. Nigga just gonna throw something on the grill. You trying to grill something? What's the special occasion? Shit, nigga, it's Tuesday. Feel good. Trying to throw something on the grill? Yeah, throw something on the grill, nigga. Call everybody over. We're gonna shoot some dice and shit, very indigenously. You know what I'm saying? Barbecue. Barbecuer. Barbecues. Basketball. Right? Basketball. And yes, when I'm talking about basketball, see, mainstream society and the industrial Indians, they want you to think that the basketball was the damn hip ball shit that they be talking about. But there's different versions of this basketball, right? The Athabascans that took over, they play that hip ball shit. The original American Indians, us, we play basketball the same way that we have always played basketball. There's a hoop, you dribble that bitch, you shoot that hoe. 5-on-5. That shit is ancient. This is why you play basketball like you have always known how to play this shit. Right? Shout out to Yasin. Facts. Right? You've been playing basketball like you always know how to play it. Even the sorriest person inside of our community is actually good to other motherfuckers outside the community. Motherfuckers only be sorry to us. All right? Running. Why do they got running on here as one of the contributions to the world? Because running, it says that the American Indians were sophisticated runners. We are some of the most fastest people on earth. Real talk. I ain't exaggerating. That's what it says. Running. American Indians are the most sophisticated runners. We are some of the fastest people on earth. Now, we are some of the most fastest people on earth. Now, when you look at the Olympics, right, and you talk about sprinters, who always win? Jamaicans and Americans. Both are Indians. Who always be winning? Jamaicans and Indians. Jamaicans in United States of America. We Indians. Ain't nobody beating us on foot. I ran track, played ball, and football. It's mandatory in the hood. Man, it's mandatory in the hood to play something. If you don't know how to dribble, you're going to play some football. At least be fast and run track. All right? Let me ask a question real quick before we continue going. Where all my track runners at? It's 61 people in here. Where all my track runners at? I just want to see something. Because them boys said American Indians the most sophisticated runners on. Where all my track runners at? And what did you run? If you are a track runner, please tell me, what did you used to run? Was it the 100 meter, 200 meter, 300 meter, high jump, long jump? Because American Indians was also the most amazing leapers as well. Right? For real, it's inside this book. American Indians are the best leapers, meaning that we have hops. We can jump out the gym. So not only are we the fastest, we jump the highest. Do I need to go pull up all these damn dunk contests? For real, do I need to pull up all these dunk contests and shit? Come on, man. Shout out to all my track runners in here. Somebody say, oh, look, I made varsity my first year learning basketball facts. Shit, I made varsity playing football my first time in 9th grade. My first time ever playing football in 9th grade. Them boys sent me straight to varsity. Left hand quarterback that can scramble good. That was me. All right. Artifact said cross country. You got them lungs. Chippewa said that 100 meter. Okay. Got a sprinter in here. Manhunt said 100, 200. Okay. Got another sprinter. 100, 200, 400. Long jump. Okay. Sauce meds. Right. You was a thrower. It's all good because we was strong too. You did the relays, the 100 meter. Facts, facts. See all these sprinters in here. Look at all these sprinters inside the comments, right? High jump, long jump, 100 meter hurdles. 100, 200, 100, 200, long jump, high jump, 200, 400, 100, 200, 450. Look, man. Look at all these sprinters inside the comments, man. Look. Hey. Ain't nobody beating us. This why I said years ago, if the Native Americans really feel some type of way about us, play us for the identity. For real. They say that American Indians handle all disputes by competition. Compete against us. Compete against us against track, football, basketball, and shit. We'll do golf. And we can do swimming. Because contrary to popular beliefs or pseudo stereotypes, we are actually great swimmers. Most of us ain't even scared of water like that. And I don't even know why that propaganda and that stereotype go around like most of us can't swim or we scared of water. Most of us love water. Eh? All right. He said, damn, low, I'm a southpaw too. Yeah, shout out to all my lefties out here. Shout out to all my left-hand folks out here. Shout out to all the lefties. You know, all left-hand people are rare. I've been left-handed my whole life. Your brother was a Golden Glove. You ambidextrous. Facts. I'm ambidextrous when it comes to certain sports. I'm naturally a left-hand person. Like I do everything left-handed except, so when I play basketball, I dunk and do layups with my right hand, and I can't do layups with my left hand. When it comes to baseball, I bat on the right side. When it comes to boxing, I could switch up both stance. I could do southpaw or I could do right hand. And when I do golf, when I play golf, I golf from either sides. But I'm naturally left-handed though. So it just depends on the sport for real with me. But yeah, running. Okay, what else we got? We got cornmeal on the list, right? Encyclopedia of American Indian Contributions of the World, right? We got cornmeal. We just said what cornmeal was earlier, right? We just said what cornmeal was. Okay? I can't forget the karate, right? So shout out to all my sprinters out here, because we just proved this Encyclopedia of American Contributions to the World, right? If we all close our eyes and I describe American Indians using this right here, it's gonna say us. If you close your eyes and I say the American Indians ate cornbread, they did barbecues, they were excellent runners, they fast, they sprinters, they played basketball, and they ate grits, you gonna think of the typical Southern Negro. If I'm lying, say I'm lying. If you close your eyes and I describe the American Indian using this, you gonna be like, nigga, those are black folks. Yeah. You gonna think these niggas come from the South. Because we do come from the South. Damn, I forgot I had a paper plane right here. Y'all let me just do all this talking and all this rambling and I forgot this paper plane. Let me spark up the last one. Roll it if you got it. Roll it if you got it. Sparking up the last paper plane. Y'all already know what it is. My phone on 3%, but we gonna rock out. He said, right, I was waiting for you. Yeah, I'm on 3%, but you know, shit, we gonna rock out tonight. You know, we got enough. We did a lot of material. We've been on for 3 hours. We went through 5 books. Tonight was a good live. We did good. We did good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they tried to say that fighting style was African, but you ain't never seen no African do that fighting style. That shit is strictly Brazilian Indian. Facts, too gracious. What's happening, Miss Epiphany in the building? Peace, peace. Excuse me. Wow, what's happening? He said they got hybrids teaching in Vegas. I walked on by. It don't even seem like that long. I'm thinking. Fast. Yeah, we've been on for 3 hours. We done went through 5 books. 5 sources proving it. Proving everything we've been saying in this yearly recap. Said that's the new name for you now, hybrids. Hey, gotta call it how we see it. These people are hybrids. They are not the original beings. They are hybrids. They racially ambiguous people. They are crossbred. They didn't even exist in colonial times for the most part. Most of them didn't even exist in colonial times. Most of them was just created in the late 1800s, 1900s. All right, y'all. The phone on 1%. All right. The phone on 1%. So we're going to go ahead and end it right there. I really do appreciate y'all for tuning in from start to finish. Y'all rocked out with me for 3 hours. I appreciate it. Time flies when we're reading books. So again, thank y'all for the likes, the love, the gifts, the shares. Thank y'all for rocking out with me. Shout out to all my subscribers. Shout out to the new supporters that hit that plus button and start following the page. Check out the playlist of videos. If you're new to the page, hit that plus button now. Follow the page so you'll be notified the next time I go live and drop more sources if you haven't. Hey, man, shout out to y'all, man. Higher Learning Book Club. I'm always grateful and always appreciative. Y'all are the MVPs. So with that being said, let's end it right. Vibrate high, peace, prosperity, abundance, gratefulness, gratitude, and appreciativeness. Practice serenity, control what you can control, let go of what you can't control, and have the wisdom to know the difference so you can balance out all life and all karma, good or bad, and teach the kids what you didn't know, because the kids is getting the propaganda psyop first. You know what I'm saying? So we got to do our job as guardians, and that pairs that rinse. You understand me? So just teach the kids, reach the kids, enlighten the youth, because that's our future. We the present, we the gift that keeps giving to them so they can become the future present. You understand me? With that being said, vibrate high, enjoy yourselves, see y'all in these TikTok streets. Until next time, always read and always do your research and continue building your family tree. Peace.